which is the first of the two reports, which is the annual private fostering report. I'm going to hand over to Amy to deliver. Thank you.
Thank you. So, as I said, I'm a social worker working in the kinship team, taking the lead on private fostering, which is when a child under 16 or 18, if they have a disability, lives with someone who's not a close relative for 28 days or more. The purpose of the report was to highlight that our responsibilities in respect of private fostering, to look at the data relating to the children and young people living in private fostering arrangements and analyse the issues impacting this group of children. This report captures information from the 1st of April 23 to the 31st of March 24. There was a slight raise in private fostering notifications from the previous year, from 10 to 12. 5 arrangements were in place from the previous year, so this report refers to 17 children and young people aged 0 to 17 living in private fostering arrangements in Portsmouth. Notifications are low, as is mirrored across England. There are various reasons why children and young people came to live in private fostering arrangements. The biggest reason for us in Portsmouth was relationship breakdown between child and parent and guardian. Notifications came from various sources last year, so including private foster carers, which was a vast improvement from the previous year when notifications only came from 2 sources. Only 1 notification came from school, where the majority of children are school age, so this highlighted the need for us for more work with education in the coming year. 11 arrangement ended during the year. The majority of children and young people returned home. 3 turned 16, meaning regulations no longer applied, and they remained within their arrangements. 2 young people became children we care for. We have become more successful this year in completing medical checks for our carers. So all assessed carers had medical questionnaires returned from the GP practice, which was really positive. Considering the demographics of privately fostered children and their carers involved in arrangements, 95% of arrangements had white British children and carers. 1 private fostering arrangement was with a black British Caribbean children and carers, and I do recognise in Portsmouth we seem to be reaching a certain demographic which mainly consists of white British teenagers, and consideration needs to be given to having a wider reach. Financial issues remain at the forefront of concerns within private fostering arrangements. Many carers struggle to give children opportunities that are important for childhood development. 1 out of 17 parents and persons with parental responsibility provided financial support to children in the last year. 15 children and young people living in these arrangements had been known to children's social care historically, subject to early help, child in need and child protection. And children we care for in Portsmouth and Hampshire, and 11 of our young people made their own arrangement. Something we did differently this year was we asked for feedback from private foster carers, parents and young people. The feedback was largely positive, with parents, carers and young people grateful for the support they had received. We had some positive outcomes this year, so with awareness raising continues, using social media publications, networking through the PSCP, direct targeting of services in Portsmouth, and holding briefings every 2 months to raise awareness, not only internally at Portsmouth City Council, but with our partnership agencies. And we took part in Private Fostering Awareness Day with CORE and BAF, and in my view put Portsmouth on the map in respect of good practice and support that we provide to our carers and young people. We have continued to attend private fostering special interest groups to network with our other local authorities working in the field, including a Southern private fostering group looking at practice in the Southern area, and sharing and learning from practice and helped with the expansion of that network. And in 24 to 25, I'd like to achieve continued marketing and awareness, raising the profile of private fostering within Portsmouth, continued briefings, targeted support, promotional materials, continue to collect and collate feedback from those who use the service, including writing to all carers at the end of the arrangement, including feedback forms with a stamped addressed envelope so everyone has a chance to feedback. Something we didn't manage to do but hope will be actioned as part of 24 to 25 is develop and implement a post-16-18 pathway plan for children and young people that have been privately fostered, who are qualifying young people. This has been expanded to include special guardianship children who've been subject to special guardianship as a wider piece of work that needs attention. We will trial the use of using a household review to review private fostering arrangements after 1 year, providing an oversight, an independent level of oversight from the private fostering team. And we aim to redesign publications for distribution to include information about post-16-18 services, annual reviews, and also the virtual school offer off of the back of the kinship strategy, which included private fostering. So private fostering was recognised within that strategy, which was really very hugely positive for us. And that concludes my report. Thank you.
Amy, that's such a good report. Thank you so much. The strength of it, I know it's a report for noting, but for me, it's the strength of it is about how it fits into all the other areas of fostering. And I'm happy to admit that when I first took on this role, I just had a stereotypical view of fostering, and I have learnt so much over the years. And even talking about private fostering, I don't think a lot of people even are aware of the differences and what that is. And you've just explained it perfectly. So I can't really ask any questions because it was covered so well. But just to pick up on a couple of things, it's about, well, first of all, to say where it fits in with other types of fostering, and the similarities and the differences within that, so that we can actually give the best service to people possible. What I also loved was the strength of the feedback. I mean, it wasn't just like we did some feedback. Everything you said from the feedback point was about how we're going to change things moving forward. And actually, that's the best feedback, because it means that people not only have been asked, but they've been listened to. And then we benefit from that, because actually they're the people that we need to listen to. So I thought that was a real strength of it. And obviously, the point you highlight around 16 to 18, I think is really, really crucial. And I can only imagine what it's like for some of those young people going towards independence and needing all that kind of support, make sure it's there. So thank you so much. It was a really, really good report. Does anyone else want to add anything? No? I think that's a reflection of the strength of it. Thank you so much. It is a report for noting, but I'm so glad that we've brought it here. Okay, so that takes us on to the item 4, which is the SACRE Annual Report 2023-24. Debbie, over to you.
Okay, so I'm presenting this report on behalf of Chris May, who is our professional advisor to the Portsmouth SACRE. So since the Education Reform Act of 1988, all local authorities have been required by law to constitute a SACRE, a Standing Advisory Council for Religious Education, within their local area. And a SACRE is a unique body. It's set up by the local authority, but it's independent of it, with the role to give advice to that local authority. The main purpose of the annual report is to hold the local authority to account by informing the Secretary of State and key partners what advice SACRE gave the local authority during the year and how the local authority has responded to that advice. And that includes advice on religious education and collective worship in those schools for which the local authority has responsibility. So the report includes the composition of SACRE, what representatives there are, the membership, the meetings and attendance over the year 23 to 24. And within that, the activities that have been undertaken by the SACRE. It's really important that the SACRE monitors the quality of provision for religious education, and that's been undertaken in a number of ways, particularly visits to Portsmouth schools by the SACRE professional advisor, and the Hampshire Secondary RE Teaching and Learning Advisor. So those visits are sort of twofold. They're part CPD and professional advice and support, but also a way of actually monitoring what's being delivered in our schools. We've also looked at Ofsted reports because sometimes there will be a deep dive on religious education, but also those other areas that are contained within an Ofsted inspection, so reporting on spiritual, moral, social and cultural development, and often personal development are quoted, and they link to the work of SACRE and how religious education is delivered. SACRE also undertake website monitoring, so it's a way that's not onerous on schools, school leaders and teachers of religious education. So we can look, is it being referenced on websites? Are there policies? What does the curriculum say? Does it link to the locally agreed religious education syllabus? So we looked at other things as well. We do surveys, and there's monitoring of recruitment and vacancies for teachers of religious education, and we look at GCSE results as well. So lots of activities go on. For me, I guess the training is one of the most important ones, making sure that actually our professionals in schools are equipped with the subject knowledge and expertise to deliver that. So certainly working with our professional advisor who holds regular termly meetings for our primary colleagues, and then our secondary colleagues are able to access the support that is given to Hampshire teachers at RE. So lots of activity which is reported back, and then the SACRE itself and the SACRE monitoring group undertake. So I'm pleased to say that the SACRE has received no formal complaints about religious education in the past year, and no complaints about collective worship in schools either. There have also been no requests for determination to the SACRE, and determination is where the SACRE must consider applications from head teachers who request that their school be released from the legal requirement for collective worship to be wholly or mainly of a broadly Christian character, and we've had no requests for that, for determination. So our SACRE links closely with other authorities and SACREs, obviously particularly Hampshire, but also because we share the same locally agreed syllabus, Hampshire, Southampton and the Isle of Wight, and we do, then that helps to join up. And we're also a member of NASACRE, which is the National Association of SACREs. So lots of joining up, and members are invited to South Central Hub meetings, so you can see how the SACRE links to lots of others. During this period as well, the annual report states that we've adopted our code of conduct, and we've also reviewed the constitution where slight amendments were made. So a busy year and productive year for SACRE around religious education in Portsmouth.
Thank you, Debbie. Another really, really thorough and good report, and do pass on my thanks to Chris for the work. And also, I loved the introduction by Reverend Sam Duddles. For anyone who's ever met her, the introduction sounded like her for sure. And I think it's a reflection. I think I said this in the last meeting when we talked about the constitution of SACRE, is that actually it's an incredibly strong group that is very dedicated to this area. And it's not just about GCSE results in RE. This is a syllabus that the city, the educational people within the city commit to, and it's because of everything else that it is apart from the GCSE results. And we know that that obviously the comments you made about Ofsted pull that out. It's about how we treat each other, how we respect each other, what differences do we have within our school communities and across the city. And I think it's I think the report reflects the real strength of this work. So yes, I don't have much more to add other than thank you to you and to everyone on the group. Please pass that on, and thank you for bringing it here so that we could talk about it and highlight and shine a light on it. So that brings me to the end of this meeting with these two reports. So thank you very much for coming. Thanks for all the reports officers, and have a very good evening at just after 4:15. Thank you. Bye-bye.